Hi guys, I just wanted to make this battle to showcase my battle with the Orphan of Kos in New Game Plus mode. I fought him dozens of times, he kept killing me over and over again. I'll say it right now, it's an extremely hard battle. At least at first, and I mean either way it's a hard battle even after you've done it a couple dozen times. This first phase is very intimidating at first, he will kill you a lot. But once you figure out his movesets, it gets a little bit easier. At the beginning, sometimes he'll jump at you and you'll see what he does later. And I was kind of trying to entice him to do that. There are a few different times in the fight where you can stun him and get a visceral attack. When he does that overhead slam is one of those times. You really want to shoot him when he picks his right foot up. There's a few times in this fight where I just take some pop shots at him just to see what it'll do. But for the most part, you just want to avoid his swipes. That is one right there you can get him, and then you want to dive in and try to get a visceral, but it's really hard if you're outside of your range. You have to be pretty decently close to him in order to get that visceral attack. You definitely need to dash in on him to get it. That's the jump that I'm talking about. That's going to be the easiest opportunity to get the visceral attack. When he jumps like that, all you really need to do is just walk right towards him. Don't be scared of it. He'll jump right over your head. For that attack, he'll reach into his weapon and he'll put his hand on the ground. It's a fairly short range attack. But again, you see, I got the stun and I tried to get in on him for the visceral, but it didn't work. So for these long swipes, just stay out of his range, dive back a little bit. So that's the other attack he'll do. He'll throw that ball at you and it will explode, so make sure you get out of the way. Just naturally, I find myself evading to my right a lot. But that's just gonna be, I'm sure, preference, but when he runs at you, sometimes he'll do that jump, and so when he just ran at me, I was expecting him to jump, but he won't always. There's a couple different moves he'll do. So there's the jump. He'll go right over your head, charge your weapon, hit him. A lot of people online will suggest you to use a long-range thrusting weapon for this. Makes it a little bit easier, but I don't know if it's necessary. I doubt it's necessary. So mainly just dodge backwards during this phase. It'll avoid most of his attacks. That uppercut swipe that he does is a little bit hard to avoid. Again, I find myself dodging to my right a lot, and sometimes I'll dodge right into it. But again, there's the jump. Visceral him. And now I'm using a rune that gives me 20% increase on my attack for the visceral. So when his health gets below about halfway, he'll transform and he'll start phase 2. You know when he's going to transform because typically it happens when he's a little under halfway, this health bar that is. And he'll grab his weapon with both hands and slam it into the ground. And now this is when the fight gets extremely unpredictable. I got lucky there to get this attack. Trying to figure out what he's going to do is hard. There's definitely videos online that will teach you exactly what attacks to look out for. But to be honest, I find myself very rarely even getting the opportunity to anticipate those attacks. And so I try to attack here and there, and I think that sometimes it gets me into trouble, but I was being very passive on a lot of my other attempts, and it didn't seem to work. So what I forgot to mention is that when he transforms, he'll do that lightning attack, so your best bet is to get here out into the lake. When he does the lightning attack, there's gaps in it, and it always originates from the shoreline, so the further you are from it, the easier it's going to be for you to avoid his lightning attack. And another thing that I did a little bit differently on this that compared to my other attempts is I didn't stay locked onto him as much as I had before. Staying locked onto him and strafing left and right or back, just sometimes it just doesn't seem to cover enough distance for his attacks. He takes these long swipes at you, and he just covers so much ground, and has such a long sweeping strike. Sometimes it's hard. So again, he has this lightning attack. You know when it's coming because he'll scream at you, and then you just try to get in between the lightning. But one thing is, it's extremely difficult because he'll run right at you when you're trying to avoid that lightning. Ideally, you want to start this phase with as much health vials as you can. When you first fight him, it will be extremely difficult to save him until you really get the hang of what he's going to do in that first phase. It's going to be a very frustrating fight. Ideally, you just want to dodge as much as possible, attack when you can, and don't get too excited. There was a couple times where I got his health within the first word of his name, Orphan. I got his health down there a few times, and he would kill me. 2 attacks and it can be over for you. So use every opportunity you have to keep your health full, especially if you have, I had a decent amount of health vials left, say I still have 11, and this is very rare that I had this many. But if you can get his health low and have this many, just keep your health full as often as possible. And that's it. A lot of the times when he's doing his attacks at the end animation, he'll pause slightly, and that's going to be your opportunity to maybe get a heavy attack and a heavy thrust. But for the most part, you need to be extremely patient and really just learn his moves, learn where he's going to go, how he's going to move. I'm telling you, this fight took me a long time to complete. Over and over and over again, he was killing me, and it's extremely difficult. But that's my experience with the Orphan of Kos on New Game Plus. Again, this was at least my 20 plus time doing it. Thank you for watching. Sorry for that noise, my cat just pushed my door right open. But I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day.